What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode number 31 of the Outlier podcast. I think he just busted.
Welcome back.
Yes, sir. Anyways, thank you guys again for all the support. We're still going strong. 31 episodes in.
Yes, sir.
The Would You Rather comes from Esteban, and he asks, would you rather give up your top 2 favorite drinks forever or top 2 favorite foods forever? And this is an easy one for me. I didn't really have to think about it that hard. But what would you rather?
No, I do have to think about that because so when he means like favorite drinks, does it mean like diet sodas or like your type? Like for me, it's Dr. Pepper Zero. Can I get rid of Dr. Pepper Zero but do other diet drinks? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll get rid of the two favorite drinks, 100%.
Yeah. For me, my favorite drink would be Coke Zero, probably. So I would say, yeah, fuck it, get that shit out of here, because food to me is way more satisfying than a drink. So if I had to get rid of like sushi or like I think wings,
Steak.
yeah, wings or steak, like nah, fuck that, dude. I love that shit way too much. But yeah,
For me, it's weenies, bro.
like what do you mean, like penis? What you talking about?
Like Frank's.
Frank, the little ones, the little like breakfast ones, or what?
Cold.
Cold?
Just like that.
Oh, that reminds me. You tried? Did you try that? The
Bam!
coconut water. What do you guys think about coconut water? I love me some damn coconut water, straight from the coconut, preferably. But
You see my nails? How clean they are?
yeah,
I just cut them holes. All right. No, I haven't touched it because I want to try it on the podcast.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Saul told me to get this earlier.
Wait, but hold on before you drink that. He's never had coconut water in his life. He claims, right? So this is his first time ever.
Yeah. So as far as I can remember, I've never tried it. And it says serve chilled, but this is kind of, it's not hot, but it's just not cold.
Room temperature. I'm a big fan of coconut water. It's not as good from the bottle as it is straight from the nut, the coconut. But I those are decent.
It's good.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Actually.
So next, you have to try it from the coconut, and then you'll be really impressed.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's super refreshing. I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, especially if it's cold, bro. If you had a cold, damn. But yeah, for sure, I'm going with the drink one because I can't give up my steak or my wings.
Yeah.
Plus, as you mentioned, it's easy to substitute those two drinks, right? So instead of Coke Zero, I could have a Pepsi Zero, or some other type of diet drink.
Like for me, it'd be a lot more difficult if I had to get rid of Diet Cokes and coffee. I'd be like, oh shoot. Like that'd be kind of difficult.
You're a super caffeinated person, huh? Like you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The only caffeine I have is my pre-workout in the morning, and that's it, pretty much.
Don't you drink that? Don't you drink nitro cold brews?
Yeah, but that's not every day. It's probably like a couple times a week. But as far as, does Coke Zero have caffeine?
That's a good question.
I feel it probably does. Yeah.
It's not significant though.
Yeah, if it does, then yeah, that's probably the only other caffeine source that I take. But anyways, guys, let's get straight into the topics. The first topic we're going to talk about is the Little Mermaid, and this is a very hot topic right now. The Little Mermaid has been trending, and not in a good way. It's been getting a lot of negative reviews, a lot of thumbs down. There's been a lot of videos of even little kids being like, "What the fuck is this?" A lot of kids surprised and not happy with the trailer. What do you think about that?
The little kids look all discombobulated, huh?
Yeah. What do you think about obviously, before we start talking about it, the reason people are upset is because the main character, Ariel, which is supposed to be a white female, is now a black mermaid. right?
Right.
So that's what the outrage is about. And for me, it seems like it's not so much with the fact that she's black, but with the fact that they changed a very historic character into being something that it was never, which is a black female.
Yeah.
What do you
Hmm.
think about that?
I think that I had sent you a video earlier on Instagram, and you had responded that kids are very honest, right? You
Yeah,
remember what I was
yeah,
talking about?
yeah.
Okay, so if we took the kids' reactions that you had just said,
Uh huh.
majority of them are like that. Like, what's going on? It doesn't take a rocket scientist. It doesn't take a genius to know that what is going on here. Like, it's just like you said, the Little Mermaid, the original, was a very iconic movie back in its day. And now by turning the main character into a minority kind of blurs everything. It makes everything super confusing. And what is obviously trying to be pushed is an agenda, but they're doing it in a very well, I wouldn't even say clever, but they're trying to do it in a clever way, but they're getting a lot of backlash from it. I just think that they should keep it out of that. And if they're gonna have a storyline or a character that's gonna be black or Asian, gay, whatever it is, create a whole nother storyline, a whole nother separate movie, and then do it right, like Coco, and you had mentioned Moana, right? That's a perfect example, and people love it, right? That's the way to go about it. You don't have to change a narrative that is already set,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's
Yeah.
like making Buzz Lightyear black or gay, or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. I think changing a character that was already, a white character into a black character just doesn't seem right because you're messing with the whole story, with the whole nostalgia, with the whole experience, right? That people expect and want. I'm obviously not a Little Mermaid fan. I think that's more of a girl type
Yeah.
of character, right? But for me, it's like I don't even want to watch it because I already know it's gonna be an agenda, right? That's they're trying to push, and it's gonna seem very not like the Little Mermaid, more like it's about, you know, obviously the agenda, right? And so I think the way they should go about if they really want to be inclusive with ethnicities and types of people, right? That they should create its own thing, as you had said, right? So instead of changing the character into being something else that it was never supposed to be, they should create, like you said, a Moana or a Coco, right? Where
Yeah.
they're ethnic people, but are still great movies, and no one's upset because nothing was changed. Nothing was, it's its own thing, and that's how it should be, right? Um,
Well, let's talk about why it's getting so much hate, because Disney has already been doing this in the past, but they've been kind of dancing around it, right? Like I talked about Buzz Lightyear and how Buzz Lightyear had a lesbian black commander, but they didn't
mhm.
touch Buzz Lightyear, but they are trying to push an agenda, but they're kind of dancing around the main character, right? But
Yeah.
what Little Mermaid did is that they actually changed the main character, which is why I think they made it way too obvious. I think that this was something that they were doing gradually, and they thought, okay, it's time to pull out the big guns. We're gonna change Little Mermaid,
Yeah.
and now they're getting the they're not getting the reaction that they expected. They're like, "What? We thought we groomed them enough to hit them with this, right?" And then now they're saying, "Okay, no, 1.5 million dislikes, and people are outraged." And then all the funny memes that are coming out, right? They're satirical jokes through memes. That's what
Hmm.
memes basically are. But it's like what they say: every good joke has truth, right?
Yeah.
So all these satirical memes that are coming out, it's only funny because there's some truth to it. It's
Mhm.
ridiculous, right? What they're doing with Little Mermaid is super ridiculous, which is why all these other things are funny. So
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just don't like that whole culture of giving someone something because of what they look like, or the color of their skin. Like I feel like if if an actor earns a role, it should be because they're the best at that role, not
Yeah.
because they're black or Hispanic or Asian or whatever it may be. I think the best man should get the job, and that's how it should be. Unfortunately, it's not like that right now. It's kind of like, oh, we got to throw in an Asian, or we got to throw in a black guy. Oh,
Yeah.
we forgot, we got to have a gay guy in the
Yeah.
scene, and so it's like it's kind of ruining the art of movies and television now, because it's kind of focused on that instead of the actual product. It's focused on pushing an agenda rather than making a good movie with the best possible actor, the best possible scenes and all that. So yeah, obviously people are not happy. Even as you said, the innocent kids, right? The people that have really no agenda, right? They're just like the Little Mermaid. They're not happy with it. Why? Because they changed a character into something that it was never supposed to be. You know.
Yep.
So
You know what I thought about right now? You talking about how the best person should get the scene. Do you know the story behind the sequel Rocky, or the right Rocky? Yeah, the boxing was Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, so I from what I remember, it was his script that he wrote, and they didn't want to cast him as the main character.
Yep.
And so
Because of
because
because
of
of his or because of where he was from, his
uh-huh.
ethnicity, and his accent. They said that no, we want somebody who talks correctly according to our standards to play the role, and somebody who is an experienced actor. And he basically told them, no, either I play it or y'all don't get the script.
Yeah.
And they eventually folded, and then now we have one of the most iconic sequels of all time, right?
Yeah,
Who
but
doesn't know like the Rocky theme song?
yeah, I know. But that's something that he gets to do, right? Because it was his script. So, of course,
Yeah.
it's not going to be like that all the time, but yeah, I mean, obviously people are outraged, and I don't know. I know I said I'm not interested in the movie, but I'll probably watch it, partly because I have a AMC subscription, so I get a certain amount of movies a week, so I'll
You,
probably
you
watch
watch
it
movies for free now,
for
huh?
free. Only $25 a month, free of charge. But yeah, so let us know what you guys think about that, about the Little Mermaid. If you're happy with that change, or if you're not. I feel like most people aren't happy with it, but I'm interested to see what you guys think. The next thing that I want to talk about, I don't know, because it's your topic and you mentioned it and you told me to bring it up. So basically, you told me it was something to do with an experiment. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah. Have y'all heard the inclusive room experiment? Have you heard it?
Never heard of it.
Okay, so the inclusive room experiment is where there's this a strange professor, doctor, who takes couples in, and he puts them in this inclusive, or sorry, this room that is extremely plain. White walls, all it has is a bed and a bench. The restroom is also extremely plain. All it has is
Uh-huh.
a shower and the sink and somewhere, toothbrush or whatever. But basically, he puts a challenge on them. If they can last 50 days in this room, they get $5 million, both of them, and they get to decide whether they want to split it or not. So he gets these recently separated couple to go into this room and try to do 50 days, right? Their food is it's protein shakes and one of these, but all plain. All it has on it is food. Their water is also in the same container, and all it says is water. Now, there's certain things that they can do. If they want what is called a treat, which is basically something that they get, it's totally random. It's $100,000 off of their prize money,
Uh-huh.
right? So obviously at the beginning they're like, no, we're not gonna touch that, right? Whatever. It's crazy because you immediately see how different temperamentally this couple is. The girl is a very disciplined, well-structured person. She understands that routine is healthy for the body. So she sets an alarm. She goes to sleep at the same time. She brushes her teeth. She makes the bed. She does yoga. She meditates. She does all these things routinely throughout the day because she knows that's better mentally. The guy is very prone to impulsive action. So immediately he has a super off schedule. He starts staying up all night, trying to figure out things that will keep him excited. Like immediately the first night he wants to have sex with this chick, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the first thing he starts to think about. And eventually he starts losing his mind pretty early on, and he doesn't know how he's gonna do it. He starts getting extremely depressed, and he's like, I can't do this. I need to get out. So she encourages him to get a treat, right? And so what he does is he gets a crayon, literally just a crayon, $100,000 crayon, but it actually keeps him going. He starts, apparently he does art, so he starts doing art on the walls, and that keeps him going. At this point, they're about halfway through. Then they are allowed one message from the outside world, where one of their family member gets to send them a message. The girl gets a message from her father, who she hasn't seen in years. And basically that was something that just totally ruined her, and so she falls into depression. Now he's trying to get her back, right?
Yeah.
But because she's in depression, remember, he's prone to impulsive action, so he falls in depression too. So she encourages him again, maybe you should get another treat, which is $500,000 treat, because the first one was
Oh, so
100,000.
it goes up.
It goes up.
Okay.
And they get no, sorry. He gets a naked woman, like a naked model. And obviously the chick is pissed, right? Because they're a couple that just broke up and they're trying to work things out. That's why they agreed to this challenge. She's pissed, right? But they have to stick with her. Like that's part of you can't let her out. She's part of the prize.
Uh-huh.
Eventually what ends up happening
Wait, so
is that
I have a question though. Does that chick stay there the whole time with them?
yeah, for the rest
And
of the
she's
time.
just naked the whole time?
She just the chick gets mad, so she forces the guy to give her his shirt. So now he's shirtless, just so she can cover her upper body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the girl starts going crazy at this point, because think about it, being isolated for this long, you're gonna go crazy, right? No entertainment, no outside socialization.
Is there sun? Oh, that was my next question. Sunlight.
There's no sunlight, but they actually change the lighting in the room so they can know when it's morning, day, night.
Okay.
That's at least a little bit better.
Yeah, right.
She starts going crazy, so she's like, you know what? I'm gonna get a treat, $100,000. At this point, they're like 2 weeks away from finishing, which is still a lot of time. She gets ecstasy. She gets 3 pills of ecstasy, and so she gives one. All 3 of them, they all take one, and they eventually start to like trip out, like balls out, right? They start making out, they start doing all this stuff, but he has this insane trip, like where he's just hyperventilating, and they're trying to bring him back. When he comes back, he's like, I can't do this, and he leaves without the prize money. And so she decides, okay, I'm gonna wait it out. I only have like a little bit more than a week, right? Yeah. And it comes to the point where she only has 2 days left, and she's already about to touch the button, and the video cuts off. She's contemplating, and then it cuts where she sees the guy a couple months later going for a jog, and he asks her, "Did you press the button, or did you stay the rest of the time?" And she ignores the question, but right behind them is a sign, apparently, to where she donated all her money to this like building for homeless people or something like that.
So
super interesting, bro. So she finished.
Do you think that's real, or do you think that was something that was kind of like, oh, let's make this cool video that you're gonna act in? Do you think that was real?
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you asked that, and I hate that was the first thing you asked. I wish we could have speculated on the actual situation. I think it probably could have just been fake because of the camera angles that they had. They had like face, like they had camera angles where it was like right above them while sleeping, them walking into the rest. You know what I mean? Like, how do you get those camera angles without a camera crew in there
Yeah.
changing different things? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, yeah, I think it could have been, but since you kind of already debunked like the actual experiment of what it is, what do you think about that, and how do you think you would deal with something like that?
Um, I mean, I feel like I would probably react the same way. I don't think I would go as far though. I think I'd go crazy way before then. I feel like maybe week 3. Wait, how many days was it? To 50, right?
50.
Yeah, 50. I want to say like around like 21 days I'll be losing my shit. Especially if you're in there with either by yourself, that's worse. But if you get a
Oh
partner,
yeah.
that helps, right? Because you're not alone. Um but yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd make it because I'd go crazy, especially with no sunlight. Like that's you don't know what the fuck's going on. You know, you're gonna start losing track of time, even though you technically know it's not gonna feel the same. You know, you're gonna feel off.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it.
I
But I
think I
don't know.
could.
I don't know though. It depends. I'll probably use a couple treats, but
Oh yeah.
I don't think I would get far.
I would hope I'd get an ecstasy or something if I got a
Yeah,
treat.
yeah. But that
But
would be an expensive one, right? Like 500K or something.
no. Oh, well, maybe.
Yeah.
No. She got it at the 100K. That was her first treat.
Okay. I get you.
No, what was I gonna tell you though? I think I can do it. Have you ever heard that Mr. Ballin story where the dad locks up his daughter in the basement?
Oh God, that's a horrible one. Is it the one that he has a baby with her and all that?
Babies,
Or
like he
babies,
has
yeah,
like
the whole family.
4 or 5 kids. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
and
Real quick, for those of you that don't know, it's a horrible story about this guy that's super controlling over his whole family. The wife, the daughter, and I think there was like another daughter or a boy.
two older siblings, a brother and a sister.
Yeah, and so for some reason everyone fell in line because this guy was so abusive, and he would torture.
Except for her though.
Yeah, so he would like torture them, like hit them. Obviously, just all types of verbal abuse and shit like that. But for some reason, the youngest one wouldn't, fall in
Comply.
line. Yeah, she was super against him, and so what he did was he ended up building this underground bunker,
Bunker.
where he kind of tricked her into going into it. I forgot how he tricked her, but basically he tricked her into going in it. He locked it, and only he had the key. And I don't think the wife didn't know, right? No, yeah,
Like it's alleged, right, that she didn't know anything.
yeah. So he locks her in there, and keep in mind, like this is a legit bunker. Like there's a kitchen, like there's a restroom, everything you need to live, right? So he's planning on keeping her there forever, and so he goes up to the family and like, oh, she ran away. We can't find her, and so they do a whole police report. And so for years, this girl grows up downstairs with no one knowing that she's alive in her own basement. Not the mom doesn't know, the siblings don't know. The only one that knows is the dad. And eventually he starts to abuse her sexually and end up having kids down there, underground. And
Where she's having to conceive by herself.
yeah, so she
She's having to
gives,
give birth to these
yep.
children.
And so the way that she was saved was one day one of her kids got sick, and she begged the dad to let him take her to the hospital, and they did. And right away they noticed, the doctors and nurses noticed that something was wrong with not only the kid but the mom. Like they were super pale, super unhealthy, very antisocial, very just obviously after years of being down there, they just weren't social. They weren't normal people anymore.
Extremely deficient in the vitamin D.
Yeah.
Their pigment was off.
Yeah. And so what happened was, they ended up figuring out that she was that girl that went missing. And yeah, and then dad got in trouble. They found everything, and it's fucking crazy. You guys should listen to it because Mr. Ballin is a great storyteller.
Yeah, I know,
Um,
bro.
so yeah,
I told you right. I started having nightmares like the first couple of weeks that I found him
really.
because I was binge listening to
Oh
all of
yeah,
his.
I'm actually I told you about him, right? And then you said your brother recommended him to you as well.
Yeah, so well, both of y'all recommended him to me, and I didn't even listen. Like I didn't even take y'all's word. I was like, nah, like I'm not gonna listen to him.
Yeah,
And he came out randomly in my recommendation. And one if the clickbait title or the clickbait thumbnail caught my attention. I clicked on it, and that was it. I that's my favorite podcast. My favorite. Whenever his podcast drop, I immediately go listen to it,
yeah.
and on YouTube too. His YouTube videos.
I like his structured videos more, where it's a whole like video. I like those better because they're more explained in detail. But anyways, all this reminds me of the Russian sleep experiment. If you guys haven't heard about it, it's an experiment very similar to what Roger was explaining, except
A lot brutal, right?
yeah, it's a lot more malicious, right? It was back in the day. Apparently, these Russians got a group of like I don't know how many. Don't quote me. Let's say 8 people, and they were not allowed to sleep for months. And so basically, these people slowly started turning into like these zombie-like monsters, really is what they were described as. Like they just had no empathy, no type of anything. But yeah, I mean that. So basically, that's what the whole experiment was. They wanted to see what would happen to humans after getting no zero sleep for months. And so yeah, they would torture them and do anything they had to do to make sure that they did not sleep. And eventually, I want to say a few people kill themselves during that whole thing. But yeah, it was very sad.
You have to understand for the listeners, y'all have to understand how brutal this is. Like sleep deprivation is one of the worst things that you can ever experience. Like people have gone schizophrenic based off of this. People against you said suicidal. People lose memory. Like you're more prone to losing memory by not getting good sleep. Like just not even sleep deprived for months. Like every day, if you get like 4 hours of sleep every single day, you're more likely. I think it's what 70 or 80% more likely to have Alzheimer's once you're at an older age. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna start having memory loss. Sleep is so important. Try going 2 days without any sleep. Try going 2 days, and you're gonna feel like shit. Imagine these
Oh yeah.
people going for months of no sleep. At the moment they try to sleep, they get shocked or something like whatever these people were doing. Horrible situation. That this is probably the worst thing that I can even imagine.
Yeah, it's fucking sad, and I couldn't believe it was real. When I first heard the story, I assumed it was one of those stories that was made up to kind of scare people, right? But apparently,
To go to
this
sleep.
no, like a campfire story. You know what I mean? And so I that's what I assumed it was, but apparently it was real, and these people really did do this, right? And yeah, I mean, horrible things. Like as soon as they would start to fall asleep or not off, they would like fucking cut a finger off or set them on fire, or fucking pull a fingernail off to make sure they stayed awake.
I'm just very
Scary shit,
surprised that
man.
they didn't fall asleep with their eyes open. Like I think that's because
Show us how that's done.
bro, I no, though seriously, bro. I had a cousin when I was younger. He would sleep with his eyes open, like not fully open, but he would be like this, and you would be able to see his eyeballs. And I don't know if you knew this, but when you sleep, your eyeballs move, like and if they'll roll back and everything like that. So you would see just the white of his eyes.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Super
Damn.
weird. Yeah, it's super weird because the body, well, the anatomy, right? It's like we have eyelids to help us go to sleep. That's one of the functions of the eyelids. Obviously, the other one is to protect the eyes. from
Debris and shit.
yeah, to make them to keep them from getting dry. That's another one. But anyways, one of the main things of eyelids is when you're going to sleep, the darkness, right? Because darkness or the absence of sunlight increases melatonin in your body and helps you sleep. Yeah, I just think it's super interesting that.
Yeah, man. There's so many crazy experiments and stuff like that I would love to talk about. If you guys want to hear more crazy experiments or anything like that, or even just crazy stories, let us know. We'll try to get some for y'all. But with that being said, it's been about 30 minutes. I'm about to cut this podcast off here because we got a date on Fortnite. Gotta go play some arena, maybe. We'll see. Right?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Outlier Podcast. As always, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, and comment a would you rather. As well as let us know your thoughts on the topics, like the Ariel situation, or let us know. Interact with us. We love that shit. Anything else you want to add?
Yes, guys, make sure y'all go check out the Common Podcast, coming out with some heat on that. Saul's actually featured in one of the podcasts that's coming out. It's going to be out by the time this podcast is out that you're hearing. The one with us would be up. So go check it out, guys. I appreciate y'all so much. And thanks for tuning in every Saturday to come check out the Outlier Podcast. We appreciate it.
Yeah, his stuff is going to be in the description. So easiest way is to just go down there and click it. So, yeah, thank you guys again. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.